What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Atheist Roundtable. It is good to be back. Tia, my fiance, and I had a awesome trip to Florida, and we were supposed to go to Jamaica, but it's a long story. Our people we booked our trip through, they kind of shit on that. So we ended up going to Fort Lauderdale. Still had a blast. Had an amazing time together. But it's good to be back with all my folks and hanging out and getting to have conversations as we always do. So again, welcome to the Atheist Roundtable. I am your host, Austin, and tonight I have the privilege yet again of having a co-host here tonight, Jeff. As always, you and I usually have very, very entertaining conversations, but it's good to have you on here again, my man. How are you feeling?
Doing well. I'm sorry about your vacation, but I'm glad you got to go somewhere.
Yeah, as soon as we got to the airport, long story short, I booked this all the way back in like November of last year. And we called twice the week before last, said, hey, is everything good? And they said, yeah, everything's still on track, so on and so forth. Well, we get there at 6, 7 a.m., whatever it is, the morning we're supposed to go to Jamaica, and American Airlines is like, no, those flights have been booked or have been canceled since January.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, well, thanks, Trip Advisor, for letting us know. So we immediately, we went and got breakfast and immediately planned, booked a trip for the next day to go down to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
But we had a great time. That's all that matters. And I ate crawfish for days. So
nice.
But it was good. No, good to have you on again with me, Jeff. Like I said, we always have a great time doing this together. And before we go any further, one of my favorite things for Jeff to do is to be our channel's voice and face for our website and our merchandise and everything. So, Jeff, take it away.
Well, we can go ahead and see that we still have shirts for sale. In addition to that, a lot of people want to know how they can get on the show. So first, you have to buy a shirt. Just kidding. But it does help. Just kidding. So if you do want to join the show, there is an option here on the website, which is tart.live. And you can go ahead and look at Sit at the Round Table right here. Fill out a quick little questionnaire. It'll send a message to to Austin and the Tart team, and we'll get you booked in. We have been getting a lot of response for that. We've got shows lined up for you the rest of the week. It's going to be a pretty packed week. I think you got planned, Austin. I mean, you got quite a few people coming up. Give us a quick rundown of what we got planned for the rest of the week. Now that you're back from vacation, we're back in work mode. You got some stuff to do.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and you guys know me, and I'm sure even the viewers and listeners are learning that I'm always reaching out and trying to find people that want to come on here and have a good conversation with us, and and have fun. But also, as we all know, sometimes they get passionate, they get they get intense, and that's part of having this conversation, this dialogue. So just so everybody's aware, and I won't go through all the details, but I'll give you the days and times. That way, if you want to write them down or put them in your phone or just reference this video later, you can. So tomorrow, we actually have kind of two showings. One will be, I will be a guest on this Neil the 604 Atheist show. He was on with us the week before last. I have really fallen in love with Neil's content and what he does, and I'm very, very excited and honored to be a guest on his show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then 9 o'clock for the Atheist Roundtable, we will have a gentleman. His name is Judah. He'll be on. He is a theist, and so we'll start that at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on the 9th, we have Josh coming on, and he is really kind of middle undecided, and I think that's going to be a great conversation. And we'll looking forward to that. And then on the 10th, which is Wednesday, is a gentleman named Tony, and he is a anti-theist. So that's the first anti-theist that we'll have sitting at the round table. And again, I think that will be another very engaging and informative conversation that we'll have with them or have with him. And then on Friday, so Thursday we'll have a day off, and then on Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mike and myself will be guests on the Daily Atheist Show. And Chris, we can't tell you how excited we are to be back on your show, and we're honored again to be a part of that. And then that night, we're going to have a very special guest. I've actually known this man since I was probably 18 years old, right around there. And he is a theist. His name is Rob Yannick. He's a pastor. He's an author. And a very, very good man. I have a lot of respect for Rob, and that's going to be a great conversation. And I think that's one that everybody will enjoy, whether you're atheist or theist. So please, if anything, come out Friday night and definitely check that one out. And then Saturday night, I have one in the works. So I'm not going to give details yet, but I will tell you if we can make it happen. If you or someone that you know and care about struggles with mental health, mental illnesses, things like that, you'll want to tune in or suggest that they tune in, because we're really going to dig into it and discuss what it is, what it looks like, and maybe some tools and best practices to help yourself or the people you love and care about. And then the following week, we already have things booking up there, but I will mention on Sunday, again, we have the honor of having Chris from the Daily Atheist coming on with us Sunday night. And again, super pumped to have him on. And he's a great guy. He's had us on his show a couple of times, and looking forward to that. So from now till next Sunday, that's what we have booked. And even on my vacation, this is why I love my fiance, because I still was filling a calendar and answering emails and doing things like that to keep the show plugging away and keep people coming on. So for everybody that's coming on, thank you. And there's a couple that I didn't announce because they fall into the following week, but we're excited. And like Jeff said, we got a lot planned. We got a lot booked here coming for the next 7 days. So for those that have already jumped on, thank you for taking the time to listen to us on a Sunday evening. And like I always say, the people that are viewing and you're in the comment section, you guys you're the fucking rock stars, man. And you make this machine keep going and keep growing and keep getting better and better every day and every week. So Jeff, anything you'd like to add there?
Interesting, you guys. So is the guy a self-proclaimed anti-theist? Is that what he goes by?
Yes, that was in for the listeners, viewers that don't know, maybe you haven't went through the process yet. I via either email or phone, I always ask, okay, so what is your belief system or your worldview or your convictions? And it was very clear that it's anti-theist.
Interesting.
Yep. So again, for those that maybe are just really starting to delve into this, an anti-theist, it's basically there is no God. Like, I just believe there is no God. Where Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe all of us talked enough. I know that you, myself, Atheist Jesus, Pasta, Steve, we all identify as agnostic atheist, where we don't know. Yeah, we don't claim to know. Yeah, we don't find sufficient evidence. There's no good evidence to suggest that the God claim is accurate, but we can't
rule it out. You can't rule it out.
Yeah, we can't state that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there is no God, because we don't know. So just so everybody's clear. And actually, I get that question often. Is, well, I thought you guys were atheists, that you just believe there's no God.
Yeah, we got to clarify that role a lot. I think that's a clarity that we need to make.
Yeah, and when we, self-admittedly, we when we're in the shows, we need to do a better job of explaining that to people that don't know our stance. Because sometimes even my little brother, that night he came on with us, I talked to him a few days later. We were at his house swimming, and I was explaining to him. He was like, "Man," he said, that gives me a completely different understanding of you guys. And your argument and your position and why you approach it the way you do, because you can actually have that conversation, because you're saying, I don't know. Right. I don't find good evidence, but I don't know. That's completely different than trying to have a conversation, argument with somebody that says, no, it's not real.
Right. And there's debate to the language. Like, I'll give that. You can debate the language whatever you want, but for us, it is simply the answer to the question, do you currently believe in a God? And if you don't currently believe in a specific God, then you're an atheist. So it doesn't answer any other question other than that. You don't have to subscribe to the Big Bang Theory, evolution, science is your God. Like, none of those things are requirements. It's literally just the question of whether or not you subscribe to a particular deity. That's I think how we define it right now. Define it however you want, but that's why we call ourselves atheists. Now, agnosticism has to do with the knowledge piece. Can I know that there is absolutely no God, or can I know that there is absolutely a God? So being an agnostic atheist means I don't currently subscribe to a God, and I don't know for sure that there isn't a God. Someone who is a, I guess, anti-theist or anti-religion or a Gnostic atheist would be someone that says that I don't believe in a God, and I know, I have the knowledge to back that up. And the same thing goes for theology. Or, you can be a theist that is agnostic or Gnostic. It's the same thing. So, but I just want to make that clarity so that we're on the same page about what we think. So that way, just so we say atheist, there can be a lot of meanings to that. Different people interpret it different ways. That's how we interpret it.
Yeah, and I'm keeping my eye on the comments here when we talk about this. So somebody asked, Gnostic atheism and anti-theism for me, and this is where I try to be I'm a simple-minded guy. Like I'm not a very complex guy, and to me, Gnostic atheism and anti-theist are one and the same to me. Mm-hmm. Where you're stating, or you're making the claim that really absolutely there is no God. Like it's all mythology, it's all made up, it's all bullshit, right? I do I believe that that's probably right? Yeah, but I can't know. I can't know it. So, and being a proper skeptic, if I can't prove it and I can't demonstrate it,
why believe it?
Yeah, then I'm not going to align with that. So,
right.
So that's that's where I stand on that. And the and Jeff, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. The other thing that I get, and I think you and I may have touched on this one or two times ago when we were on screen together, but the number one go-to for theists, for people like us that have a religious background, and we come from religion. You were born and raised Catholic. Mine was more evangelical, but still within the Christian umbrella. Is well, maybe you weren't taught, you weren't you weren't in the right denomination,
right?
Basically, like you did.
I did have someone tell me that today. They told me that you'll never find God in Catholicism, and that's what they told me. So I said, thanks God for having me born in the wrong religion.
Yeah, or the wrong state, or the wrong
country. I'm a purely a passenger on the ship. I have no control over where I was born, who I was born to, what country I live in, and what the practices of that country are. But we can absolutely say with empirical data, this isn't every case, but the majority of people practice the religion that's the majority religion of the country they're in. So it is much more geographic than it is idealistic for a belief system to be in place. So keep that in mind. If I was born in India, or Austin, you were born in India, you would probably be either Hindu or Muslim. You wouldn't be Catholic or Christian or whatever. If you were born in Africa, you would have a completely different set of belief systems. It is geographic by all means. Now, if everybody was born with the knowledge of Jesus Christ, and the knowledge somehow they just knew that all the other religions were false, that would be astounding. That would be absolutely something that would kick the system of the empirical data. And that would be something that you and I could look at and investigate and go, you know what? Maybe there is something to this. It does seem like that people have a tendency to find Christianity no matter where they're born, no matter what the surrounding circumstances are. But that's not what we see. And so that's a cop-out. It's like blaming the victim or the addict. It's like blaming them for their problems because they were born into it. I don't know how that's my fault. And any God that would punish me because I was born in the wrong place, I don't know if that God's good, and I don't know if that God deserves worship.
Yeah, well, and that's what I always tell people. Let's say you could, you could take God and sit God on my lap right now, and I could put my arm around God and say, "Oh, okay, you're real. Like here's God." Um, if this is the same God of the Bible that I've spent hours and hours reading and studying about, okay, I acknowledge you're real, but guess what? I'm still not going to serve you.
Yeah.
Like I'll acknowledge that you are real, but
Yes.
I'm still not going to serve you or give you my life or anything along those lines because I've read about you. You have a rap sheet,
Yeah.
and I don't, I'm not going to do life with you. I'm not going to do business with you. So that's that's all that's the next step, I think. Because okay, let's say atheism is wrong and there is a God. Well, I'm still not serving your God. Period. Like I've read, I've read the literature. I've checked my sources, and we cannot be homeboys. Like we can't be buddies.
It's true. I agree.
Cool. All
I
right.
didn't know we were going to have a philosophical conversation today, Austin.
I did not. I did not either, and it just went down that trail. But what I do want to do before we get into any more fun conversations like that, I want to talk about the contest we ran while I was on vacation.
Contest.
Okay. So, and in the future, we want to do more of these because it's a way for us to say, thank you and show appreciation for our viewers and our listeners for coming in every time we go live. And even like tonight, like this was literally like 2 hours ago, spur of the moment. It was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's not wait for the next episode to do the announcement for the prize. Let's do it tonight. Let's have fun. It's Sunday night, and even tonight we do it. And we've had 20 something viewers since we went live. So it's amazing to see.
They want to know,
and
they want to know if they won.
You guys are the rock stars. So before I announce the winner, which I already have, and I'm going to wait a little while to actually announce the name, but I want everybody here to know what the prize was, because these are the type of things we want to do. Like I said, to give back and show appreciation. So the prize for this contest, and for those that don't know, the contest was, for each person that you can tell about our channel, and that they come and like and subscribe, and in the comments of that video, put so and so sent me, so Austin, Oz sent me, and I go down and count those. The individual that had the most would get 3 things, and I'll announce that name a little later in the show. But they would get 3 things: 1, a free T-shirt from our store. Then they would get a free copy of Christopher Hitchens' "God Is Not Great." And then the icing on the cake is they would get a $100 gift card. So I think those are 3 really, really awesome gifts or prizes, especially for our first contest. So who knows what they'll look like in another 6 months or a year from now. But just so for everybody that's here knows, like that's our way of saying thank you. And yes, does it help us grow our reach and able to talk to more people and have more conversations? Yes, because we need more contact with more people so we can keep the show going. But it also, incentivizes you for helping us. So you get $100 in cash, go out to eat, get your new pair of shoes, do whatever you want to do with it. A free T-shirt and a great book. It's one of Hitch's best books. So it's I think it's a win-win situation for everybody. So like I said, I'll announce that name here in a little bit. But what I wanted to ask tonight is, I know we have some regular viewers that jump on, and they are always in our comment section. And I really don't even have the time to go through and shout all of them out and show all of them love. But you guys know who you are. And we appreciate you guys being here every single time, every single week that we jump on here. And we can't say it enough. And we're always going to tell all of you that you're the rock stars. And it doesn't matter if you're atheist, theist, you guys come in the comment section, having those conversations and doing all that. That's what makes this show great. Jesus, Mike, and I can, Jeff and Steve and Pastor, we can get on here and, we could be on point every single time. But if you guys aren't here and you're not supporting and you're not having these conversations as we're going through it, it's just not the same. It doesn't have the same dynamics. So you guys are really the crown jewel of the atheist. Well, I guess you'd say the centerpiece of the table, right? The centerpiece of the atheist roundtable, and we greatly appreciate that. So the reason I said that, if there is anybody viewing right now, you're watching, listening, and we've never done this before, that's kind of part of the surprise live thing tonight. If you want to jump on and have, depending on how many people want to do it, 10, 15-minute conversation with Jeff and I, and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about sports, you want to talk about life, you want to talk about relationships, you want to talk about seafood, which has been on my mind all week, whatever, or religion, it doesn't matter. Whatever you guys want to talk about, I want to open it up. So if you would like to jump on here for 10 or 15 minutes and have that conversation, email me. I have my phone right here, and I'll send you the invite link for that. Thanks, producer Steve, for putting that up there. Austin at tart.live. If you email me, we will get you the link, and we would love to have you on and talk. And like I said, it could be anything and everything that you could possibly want to talk about. So really quick, before we do any of that, and before I announce the winner here in a little bit, the first thing I want to say is, if you have not went to the website tart.live and followed the link in the invite for our Discord server, Jeff owns that. If you have not done that, you are a jabroni. No, I'm just kidding. You're not. But you should, and do it tonight. Great conversations on there, and really the last 48, 72 hours has been really crazy as far as growth and great conversations, and some crazy conversations. Am I accurate in that, Jeff?
Yeah, I've had my hands full. So we can go over some of the data, which actually, you know what? Let me pull that up for you so you guys can see it, because I can do that, and that's awesome. I'll give you a little bit of an idea as to what exactly has been going on over there. Let me go ahead and pull this up, and that. Okay, so this is an app that I use to manage all that information. We are going to look here. Let's talk religion and stats. So these are the stats for the last 24 hours. We've had 17,592 messages in the last 24 hours. We've had 124 people join, probably 58 banned for various reasons. And we have almost 100 members online right now, and 575 members total. And here you can see our chat rooms. And our number one chat room right now has been Islam, according to the last 24 hours. And you can even see here our growth in the last few days of members. So definitely increasing at a rapid rate. I would say that may be due in part to some videos about the Islamic faith. And to address those, I do just want to encourage some discussions over that. When you look at some of these graphs and some of the numbers, we've brought people to the table. And that's really the idea, is to get people here to have a discussion about their beliefs and help share that with everyone. I would love to learn a little bit more about Islam. And I think the best way to do that is not to go online and read, random people's, online stuff, but to actually listen to the believers and ask them questions about why they believe in what they believe. So that's kind of that. So, and I'll put up the link here too. If you guys aren't in the Discord, Austin's got links everywhere. I've got links everywhere. There's another link. So there's plenty of places. Why is my camera not focusing? There's plenty of places to join in and get in on the discussions. Just keep it civil. I'm talking to you guys. Keep it together and keep it on topic.
Yeah, absolutely. And producer Steve, if you would put that Discord link in the chat area, please. I've had a couple requests for that. Put in there. And if not, if we can't get that in there, guys, if you go to tart.live, that link is right there where you can follow it directly to the Discord. So Jeff, thanks for that info. And like I said a minute ago, Jeff is the owner and really the pioneer for that Discord server, and has done a great job with it. It's been awesome as we've watched him and that server grow, and now the reach, and I guess the wingspan of that, of that server grow, and just the conversations develop, and and sometimes sometimes they get intense and they get passionate, but like Jeff said, I feel like we do, a good job of balancing it, of, having fun and challenging things. And, if there's bullshit, calling the bullshit, but also being, it not getting nasty and getting ugly. And I feel like we do, we do a very good job of that. And he's found some very good people that are admins on there that are in our chat room all the time. And they do a fantastic job of, really corralling some of the nonsense. So kudos to those that are involved, on the back end of that as well. So that's the Discord. And then for those that tune in and you guys follow the, really the next step for our channel and the roundtable, and where we see this thing, I used to say starting to go, but it's going faster than I ever thought it would. Is we really want to start upping the level of excellence and production and the value that we bring you all as viewers and participants in what we do. So our Patreon page is up, and we we're really going to start putting a push behind that. It's created, it's there, and we have a few patrons on there so far. Again, for those that are there, who you are, and thank you so much on that so far. And we're still developing on that to where we can really get to where we're doing the shout outs on our live, and even some spot ups on like Instagram and Facebook, and the one we all met on TikTok, and really it's starting to show love there. So just know those things are coming. But if you'll go there, that's and producer Steve, if you haven't already put that up, the Patreon link on there, because that any funds, any dollars that come in from that go to upgrading equipment, lighting, anything like that, even internet speeds, and things like that, to make sure we can stream multiple devices at once, and just make sure that we're, again, giving the best product,
and helping our guests that may or may not have sufficient equipment to broadcast, be it theist or not. I think we've given some stuff away to some Christians and some others too, to help them better represent themselves. So
yep, it's if I can tell you, we without looking at bank records, for just for me personally, and I know really Pasta and I don't talk a lot about this publicly, and I'm going to shout him out on this, because him and I are not saying the other guys aren't cut from this, but him and I have similar backgrounds and everything, not regarding religion, but just coming up and how we came up, and that sort of thing. And when we see people that need something, we try to be the person to fill the need, and that's just it's who we are as humans, and we've had several people come on, atheists, theists, it doesn't matter to us, that maybe they're in a tough spot, or it's a single mom or a single dad, and they just don't have the expendable money to go and buy a camera, a mic, or both, and we do a show, or we do a pre-show interview, and we realize, okay, if we're going to do this, they needed to look better, sound better, and we'll actually get on Amazon and send them a brand new mic and a brand new camera, or whatever it is they need, to make sure that when they come on, that they can be proud of what they're what they're putting out, when they come on the show. So even things like that, like Patreon and our merchandise sales, as of right now, we're not getting rich off this. Nobody's making money off this. We're pouring it right back into the show, and right back into the people that want to be a part of the show. And I think that's awesome, is that we have a group of people within the round table that we want to do that. And it'd be very, very easy for us to have people on that have shitty cameras and shitty microphones, and just, let them look shitty and sound shitty and just make ourselves look and sound better, but there's been several times where we've done those things, and the guest ends up sounding and looking better than we do. So but I think that's a huge testament of really our true intentions and helping people, and really just having conversations and getting these conversations out there without it being a shit show all the time, and arguments, and calling each other names, and doing all that. So yeah, Jeff, I'm glad you brought that up, and and we all help each other, even behind the scenes. We're always encouraging each other and helping each other. And
Austin sent me a handwritten letter the other day. Just had the picture of a cat, and it said "Hang in there," and he signed it for me. It's very nice, thank you.
And it said "purr."
Yeah.
No, but well, like even what I love is we set up the Patreon page. Guess who our first patron was? It was producer Steve.
I think I was number one. You need to go back and check that.
Well, hold on. I'm not done.
Okay, all right.
So Steve Steve was definitely the first one there, but the first person to buy any merchandise from the Atheist Roundtable was Jeff.
Boom.
Even with that, like we love supporting each other. We love helping you guys. And the reason I say all that isn't to like pat ourselves on the back or beat our chest, but it's like, we get crazy and we get passionate and everything, but we want our viewers and listeners to know we do care about humans, and we say all the time. And Jeff, I even heard Jeff. I was just listening on the Discord the other night, and it just made me. And he doesn't even know this. I'm saying this now. He doesn't even know it, but it made me so happy to hear him say it on the Discord. He was like, "Look, we don't attack people. We don't attack humans. Like, that's not what we do. We respect the human. We respect the person. But your belief is always going to be up for scrutiny. Your belief is always up to be questioned and to go through a beatdown. Like, your belief, not you. But if you are going to put your identity in your belief, that's up to you. If that's what you tie your identity to, because we're not attacking you, the human, but we are going to question and scrutinize what you believe in and why. And that's the basis of the roundtable. Right, Jeff?
Yes. I don't care about material things of any kind. I care about the person. And I don't think we should insult someone's physical appearance, their intelligence level, their understanding of a subject matter, whatever that may be. But if somebody comes into a server and says, "Hey, I believe the Earth's flat," I'm going to ask a few questions. If someone tells me that a person died and came back 3 days later, I'm going to ask some questions. If you tell me somebody flew to the moon and witnessed it being split in half, I'm going to ask you some questions. It's not that I'm trying to upset you, but I am trying to get you to defend your belief and maybe realize that your belief isn't sound, isn't rooted in logic, or isn't rooted in something that can be validated. And that's the ultimate goal, I guess, for me, is just to get people to step back and think about, why do I have the truths that I have? Why do I believe what I believe? And what is the best, most accurate method to getting to truth in our short lifespans? Yep. And the way to do that is discussion.
No, absolutely. So, and I'm kind of covering some of this because we have a crazy week or two ahead of us as far as guests and everything, and trying to have a reference point where we can send people back to, Jeff, where they can say, we can say, okay, Jeff and I discussed this the other night as far as what is our method, and our method is we're not going to attack the human, but we are. What's the word I want?
We shouldn't be shy from asking questions about a belief system. We shouldn't be intimidated. We shouldn't be embarrassed or afraid to have difficult discussions. And these are difficult subject matters. I mean, we approach topics like abortion, like, beliefs that you've had as a child, like all these things that you're deep rooted. So people can get very emotional when you start asking questions about, hey, why do you believe in Jesus? And, you'll see that wall come up immediately. And, well, Jesus, why wouldn't you believe that, Jesus is in the Bible, blah, blah, blah. Like remove the wall. Let's get to the root of the argument and let's have a discussion as individuals, be it, Christianity, Islam, Hindu, whatever. Help me and the other people understand your position and why you have your belief system and why you believe what you believe. We're not trying to necessarily like get you to change your mind. That's not my goal. My goal is to understand why you believe what you believe and figuring that dynamic out. So, that's the idea.
Yep. Here's what I'll say first. I'm gonna pull my phone up and see if I have any emails from any of our viewers because I neglected to look here a second ago. But all right, so I don't see anything yet. Producer Steve, you can throw that email back up there. If you guys want to jump on with Jeff and I and have a conversation, like I said, it could be anything: life, music, sports, relationships. It doesn't even have to be religion, or we can just have fun and talk about.
How I'm becoming TikTok famous.
Yeah, we can even talk about that. Yeah,
I was genuinely at the beginning of this week. I was wanting to get rid of my TikTok account because it's annoying at this point. So I was looking to see, well, like what can I do possibly that would get it banned? Like what can we do to ban the account? And everything I've done has done nothing more than just get me more users, more followers, which is counterproductive to what I think the people that are following me want, which is weird. So I'm sure there are some people that have to be watching the show that have some questions about recent events. So, now's your time if you have some questions, because I've been getting massive amounts of messages that I just cannot pour through. So, now's your time. It's free.
I have a question.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Why is it that you feel the need to destroy something that can be replaced when the same religion advocates for destroying people's lives who decide on apostasy or leaving? So why would you feel that need, huh?
Well, that's a loaded question, first off.
Yeah, it is. I kind of answered it myself.
But no, again, a book. And here's the thing. You see this now in America, in other countries, and fighting a systemic oppression of people of color. That's what's going on in our society right now with our protests. And you have people that have a right to protest and have a right, at least in America, to a First Amendment right. And people are trying to erode this every day. People try to erode our First Amendment rights in the media, in private sectors, on the web, with control of the web. That's what happens. And as we move from a democracy to authoritative government, we lose a lot. But it doesn't happen overnight. It happens very gradually. And I'm very thankful that I live in a country where I am protected by a First Amendment and I have the ability to do what I want to do. Now, I am in no way comparing myself to the protests that are going on right now. Those are completely different and absolutely valid in every way. But if someone tells me that they have rules for my life based off their religion, I'm going to protest against that. And the reason is to show that religion does not have power over me, and to encourage other people that are being, intimidated and yelled at, given death threats, whatever it might be, that this is not the way to handle the issue. And I will not be intimidated and held back from expressing myself just because it's against someone else's religion. That's ridiculous. And it goes a step further. If I were to say, okay, well, now the Quran, the Bible, like those are you can't touch those. Like religious holy books, no matter what they are, can't be touched. So now you have things like Scientology, Dianetics, all these books that are now illegal to touch or to break or mess with or whatever. And that's a step towards an authoritative stance where I want to keep it as democracy and in freedom. And so that's why I'm going to fight back against that small movement towards authoritative government. I don't want to go that direction. And you look at countries like Turkey, Istanbul, India, like you have places where atheists or people that dissent from Islam or Christianity are murdered, and not by the government, by other people in those countries. And I don't want America to turn into that. I love our ability to have freedom and have discussions about religion or whatever it may be. I think we have a lot of freedoms that we take for granted every day. And we need to look at those other countries where people, even people of, let's say, Islamic faith are killed, people that are Christian are killed, people that are gay are killed, you know, all this killing over a belief system. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, why would you kill somebody over a belief system? So we've got to break down that wall. And I agree that it can be a little shocking. It can be, people can say it's disrespectful and all the other stuff. But at the end of the day, we've added a massive amount of people to the Discord server in a short period of time. And now we can start having some of those discussions. So, you know, I'll take the good with the bad. But I don't plan on touching another holy book anytime soon. So everyone can chill out.
Everybody simmer down.
Just take it easy.
Everybody simmer down. Take it easy, man.
But it is kind of funny, some of the messages I've gotten that are.
Well, I don't know
hilarious.
if you saw I don't know if you saw my TikTok this afternoon.
I did. I enjoyed it.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jeff, is all of a sudden, because we're homeboys and we do, you know, TikTok and YouTube together, and you know, I'm getting ready to fly down to Georgia, and you know, all this, like, all of a sudden, dude, you got me guilty by association.
I guess. Yeah.
Like, I literally have people like threatening, like threatening my safety and my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not, guys, I'm not even exaggerating.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, literally threatening my safety and my life.
Yeah.
Over a belief.
And you know, I have friends that are Islamic. I have friends that are Muslim, and that friends of many different faiths. And I've never really found the Islamic faith to be one that has been very oppressive, at least not in my life in America. But I could definitely see now how in certain countries it would be very difficult to leave that belief system. And the majority of the messages I get are from people probably under the age of 15. So I don't really take them too seriously. But you can tell the level of indoctrination is just exponentially worse in these places, you know, to where that they're going to message some random person on the internet that touched their book and tell them they're going to kill you. You know, that's ridiculous. It's not something I've really had to deal with in my life up until this point. So it could be a little terrifying, I think. But I don't take them seriously because, you know, again, it's a belief system. Like, it's a book. And I'm happy to live in America, and they definitely don't understand what it's like to live in America in the Deep South.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, y'all, like Steve and I are up here in the Midwest. Like, y'all are in the Bible Belt, man.
Right.
And so you guys, and that's why I'm giving perspective. So you guys are in the Bible Belt.
Yes.
And doing that.
To put it in perspective here, there's a city in my county, and that city had a Islamic mosque denied a permit to build a church because 4 out of the 5 city council members voted that they couldn't build their church. And the only reason that they were voted to not build that church was because it was an Islamic mosque. So that's how racist, I would say, or, you know, Islamophobic they are in the area. So, you know, it doesn't work that way. And I can tell these people are sending me messages that are oppressed by their governments, because I get messages that say your government, like, the government's going to come and get you. Like, you know, you can't do this.
Yeah, I get messages from people, and I probably shouldn't even be saying this, but I'm not going to out their identity. And for those watching, no, I'm not next to the sun or melting. I don't know what's going on with my camera, but we'll worry about that some other time.
It's the glory.
Yeah, that's right.
The glory of Jesus. And so I get messages a lot where people will tell me, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm from a country where I can't speak about my atheism, or I can be killed. And I've even had someone today who I was talking to, and he messaged me and goes, "Hey, I can't sub to your channel because I can't risk my identity." And that like fucking got to me. I was like, whoa, like, you know, so people worry about these things like ripping up a book or I mean, look at it this way. Me and Possum Mike were talking about this. There's a lot of things in America that I don't, you know, agree with and stuff, but I'm a first generation American, but I'm proud to be one. You know, I'm proud to live in a country where I'm free and can do and talk about these things. So I would say that I'm a proud American. Now that said, if someone burns a flag, I'm gonna think they're an idiot. I'm gonna think you're like, wow, you're a moron. You
Right.
know? But I'm not gonna
Beat him in the throat.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk away. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go, okay, that guy's a fucking idiot, and then I'm gonna move on and go on with my day. And that's how that should be. And if that's your belief stays intact, but
Yes.
it's different on our end when if someone was going to become an atheist from that religion, it's literally off the top of my head, Quran 966, and there's a couple other verses that, it's death for apostasy. So it's pretty specific. And I just don't, I think that you can draw a lot bigger picture by just showing that rather than saying, hey, I ripped up this thing, or I burned this this flag. It's like, well, at the end of the day, you still have your beliefs,
Yeah. Their beliefs aren't attached to the physical object, but I've had that realization today that I can deal with some of these messages from teenagers sending me whatever. Not a big deal compared to the absolute atrocities that are happening to people elsewhere in the world. It's mind blowing to me that, if I was born in one of those other countries, or there are people currently now in those countries that are fearful of their life, genuinely fearful of their lives because of their belief system. That's terrifying.
All right. So you guys, if you would continue that discussion, and here's what, let me rephrase that. What I would enjoy to listen to you guys talk about, why I'm getting ready to send a invite out.
Sure.
We have our first person that wants to come on live. So I'm going to situate this here and get them on. But what I would love to listen to, and hopefully the viewers do too, is so we've had this engagement, regarding the holy books, and you guys just started to kind of hit the tip of the iceberg on that. Obviously, indoctrination plays into it. It's a significant part of it. But nowhere in the Bible or the Quran does it say that you can't rip a page out or you can't do any of that. That's obviously a man-made standard, so to speak. Why do you guys, with all the engagement and all the conversations we have with let's just stick to the Abrahamic religions. Why do you think that is so truly offensive to them? Is it emotions? Is it just the indoctrination? Is it identity? Like they feel like I feel like sometimes it's like identity theft to them.
Sure.
What?
Yeah.
How would you guys categorize that?
I would let Jeff start that because as for me, I didn't grow up in any belief system, so the idea of being attached to a book like that is so foreign to me in every regard.
I would say when I was that age, so in my younger years, growing up in the Deep South, again, I was a conservative. Things like burning the flag would have probably really boiled it probably still boils my blood a little, to see somebody burning an American flag. Like that's kind of annoying to me. So it's probably an emotional reaction first that is backed up by the theology. And I don't know, it's a personal attack. My identity was attached to the flag, not to the country, not to the people. It was attached to the object. And, I think people have a tendency to objectify things and become obsessed with the object. So I could only imagine that's the reason why. Nobody wants to give me a reason. Nobody wants to answer questions. They just kind of want to throw an insult at me and scoot by with their drive-by. So,
well, I think it's all lumped into hate.
Yeah.
The thing is that when I engaged on something and made a comment about a YouTuber that's an Egyptian YouTuber that's actually been jailed for his atheism and whatnot, it really set me off in a weird way where it was like, it didn't matter if I basically started off like, hey, how do we build a test for this? I mean, how do we determine that you're right? And they just focused on, you need to stop spewing hate. And I don't spew hate. Like, I'm sorry, but your beliefs don't live in a vacuum. So it's like they reach out and they touch me and they touch other people. And not even that. It's like we had this talk on our last show, Jeff. It's like, if you have these beliefs, that's fine. Like, I'll fight for those beliefs. But when you have laid it out for a conversation to be had, or you think that it's impervious and it cannot have a conversation just simply because of its existence, you're just being like, it's like putting your fingers in your ear, so
how dare you even question it? Like, how dare you even bring this up? You know what I mean? Like, that's where we're at. And I got a couple messages that were pretty interesting too, that were the name calling. So I'll be called Islamophobic, a white supremacist, a racist, all these things. And
it has nothing to do with
it. Yeah, it has nothing to do with it. Now, here's the things that I think are off limits when it comes to a religion and their practice. They should not be interfered with. If they want to go and assemble in a church, they should be able to assemble in a church. That's like no brainer. Shouldn't have that problem, especially in America or whatever country you're in. I hope everyone has.
What atheist is knocking on church doors, going, stop what you're doing.
Yeah, I think you should have access to your religious book. I don't want to take that away from you. You should be able to access and hold your religious book as needed, and have your belief system. What you're not allowed to do is tell me that I have to adhere to your belief system. That's where you cross the line. Do whatever you want in your church.
Or that you can't talk about it.
Yeah, or that I can't question it. How dare you even question it? That's ridiculous, So I'm glad to have the freedoms that I do have. And I want you to have those same freedoms. But do not try and make your freedoms a priority over mine.
Yeah, and at the same token, like I think, I don't know who I was having this conversation with, but it's like, so you don't have to have the conversation with anybody. Like, if you don't want to, to defend your beliefs, you don't have to. Like honestly, I would respect any person that goes, "Fuck you, I believe Jesus rose from the dead," and I don't have to explain shit to you because all I care about is serving Him. I would respect that so much. That is, you have divided yourself on one side of the line, which is that I believe this. I don't owe you shit, and I agree with you. You don't owe me shit. But then there's the other side, which I have stepped on the other side of that line, which is I want to have the conversation. And on the opposition, there are other people. There are other theists. I talk to them and I'm friends with them, and they would agree with me, like Chase and Spartan and a whole other load of people that are on the same side with me, where they want to have the conversation. They've opened themselves up for their beliefs to be challenged, the same way I have opened up my skepticism or anything else to be challenged. And if you make the decision to step over the other side of that line, which is I don't want to have the conversation, but then go, this is hateful, blah, 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 and then you can't have the receptive nature of just going, okay, well, I said this to you. I said it's hateful. You're going to have to expect the response back. And then once you're like, oh, it's this, it's that, all you're doing is stepping over the line, and you're not making up your mind. Like, I want to have the conversation. I don't want to have the conversation. And I think that's sad, because it's some people are like, I don't have to prove, burden proof's not on my shoulders. Well, it's not in the sense if you don't want to convince me, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
But if you want to convince me this isn't hate or that it's true, then show me how I'm taking 966 out of context, or how I'm taking Exodus 21 out of context. Just show me these things, because as far as I'm concerned, these conversations are not exclusive to you.
Yeah. And Mike, you bring up, so made me think of two things. I wrote them down while you were talking. We don't choose our beliefs. I have to be convinced. That's a personal thing. I just can't, I will not lie to you. If I don't believe in something, I'm going to ask clarifying questions. I'm not asking these questions to make you look dumb or feel stupid or whatever. I genuinely need to understand it so that I can say, yes, I believe you. I believe it's true. I'm giving you a truthful response. Because I can tell you right now, if I were to say, yes, I believe in Islam. It's absolutely true. And I die, I'm sure that God would know that I just made it up just so that I lied. It's not going to work. I need to be genuinely convinced. So that's one. I don't choose my own beliefs. I need to be convinced. I got to ask questions.
Yep.
2, if your religion is spread by intimidation and fear, that is not a religion I want to be involved in. If you need that to convince people of your religion, then you have a very weak argument. Because if you had a better argument, you would lead with that. But you're leading with intimidation and threats and other things.
Yeah.
So you don't have enough good information. So I say you've been set up for failure right now because you don't have the information that you need to back up your claims. And so you feel that the only way that you can do that is with intimidation and threats because you can't come up with a logical argument or a better argument to give me. So that's what you fall back on. It's the thing. It's like being on the playground and someone calls you a name and it's just like, oh yeah, well, I know you are, but you're this, or, you're this, it's not a logical response. It's just a threat.
Yeah. And this could not be the best example, but it's like I'm driving down the street and my car breaks down. So like you'd believe me on that, right? I tell you,
yes.
You'd have no problem believing me because that happens. So now a guy comes up to me and is like, I can fix it. And you'd believe that too, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
The guy sticks his hand into my engine, does some like shaking, the car fucking works. Okay? Like just literally just stands there, says and then it works. Okay. Now you might believe me based on coincidence. Like, sure, I'm sure he did that, and I'm sure your car worked. I don't know if those are connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're probably still on the same page, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what if I said I believe that he did this in a supernatural way, and also if you don't believe him, or you believe him and then you decide later to not believe him, not only will you suffer like a horrible death, you're going to be in this special room where you don't get access to everybody else. Okay.
Yeah. Special area of hell.
You now go, okay, even if I believe you, this is just horrendous.
Yeah.
So if I now go, well, you can't talk about this. You can't talk about the nature of this thing. Who looks like the fucking idiot in this situation? Yeah. Me. I look like the idiot because I have created this narrative that's already not really that believable in the reality we live in. And then I've set all these standards that if you even question it, when I engage in the conversation, that now you're at fault for that,
right?
Or it's hatred or whatever. And let's say it is hatred. Let's say that it is hate. Why would you want to ban that? Because if you ban that kind of hate or hate speech, we can't engage in the conversation. I cannot convince you why you're wrong. We're blocked.
You get that from Christians and Muslims though at the same time, where actually most religions will say, "Oh yeah, well you're going to go to hell," and it's like, is that really the best argument you want to play with right now? Like, if I don't believe you, I go to hell. That's the message you want me to be received about your religion. That if I don't believe you, I go to hell. Like, that doesn't sound like a very good religion. That doesn't sound like a very loving religion. Like, why not lead with the good stuff?
Well, they don't. The thing is, they don't care. That it's right. About the nature of it and what the reality is. But the problem is like, okay, you want to get into the reality of it. Then why don't you show me that it's a reality?
Right. Yeah, I need to be convinced. And again, I don't choose my beliefs. I don't believe in evolution because I woke up one day and said I want to believe in evolution, and I also don't hold on to a book of Darwin. And if you take Darwin's book and throw it in the river, I'm not going to be that upset. I'll just go buy another one. It's not my book. It's not my property. I don't give a shit.
Like, and that's why I said I'm foreign to this whole concept.
Yeah, it doesn't live in the book. The book is not that. And for Christians, the Bible is not your religion. The Bible is the religion lives inside you. Your beliefs are your own. They're internal. No one can take those away from you. And if you're Muslim, no one can take away your beliefs like that. Like, they cannot physically remove your beliefs through an object. That's not how that works. Sure. So this is not a personal attack. Austin, you got somebody for us?
Yes. So,
you gonna take off that Nirvana shirt?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I thought you were giving it away as a contest.
Not right now. So before we bring our first guest on, and I just got another email. I'm just scrolling here to make sure we're good. All right. So before we do that and bring this gentleman on, I want to announce our winner.
Oh, nice.
Sorry.
And now that we have, I know Pasta's in the chat. The three of us are here. Steve, producer Steve's in the background, and we have Jeff and Atheist Mike here, and Atheist Jesus.
I get like a new name every day.
I'm all scrambled. I'm trying to do. This is my ADHD mind.
It's your jet lag. Just say I came back from an awesome vacation and I'm jet lagged. That's all you got.
How can it be jet lagged? You didn't go through a different time zone.
Rub it in everybody's face.
Actually, I did. I had to go back and forth between Texas and Florida like 3 times. So it was like a 2-hour difference, or hour difference, or whatever.
It's an hour difference. You'll be all right.
That's my excuse. And John Anthony, Alice in Chains is not better than Nirvana. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Have you? So Austin, I don't want to sidebar this, but I got to tell you a quick story.
All right, sure.
I'm at a Steel Panther concert in Atlanta years ago, and if you don't know Steel Panther, they're a glam rock band, 80s glam rock band, and they have a very great show, but it is absolutely lewd and dirty and all this other stuff. But they're huge fans of rock music. And so they come on stage, the very first song, boom, they're getting into it. Lights are going, the fucking fog, everything. And they're just jamming out. And then you see the lead singer stop, dead ass, just stops. And he's like, stop the whole show. Turn the lights on. Is that a fucking Nirvana shirt? Get the fuck out of here. And it made the guy take the shirt off and give him a different shirt for the entirety of the show.
Well, that's what killed glam metal, man.
Yes, I know. But it's hilarious that they took that time. If you ever have a chance to go, it's a great show. Well, maybe not now because Corona.
Yeah, it's a great show until you get sick.
Yeah.
No, I still say, and then we'll move on. That one of the greatest live albums ever recorded was Nirvana Unplugged, and that's why I have their Nirvana Unplugged T-shirt.
I would argue Alice in Chains Unplugged, but that's another conversation. We'll go there another day.
We'll do that another time.
Yeah, we'll do that another day.
Alice in Chains, I got nothing on Nirvana. Anyway, back to the contest, and get that off the screen. That is heresy. And I love Alice in Chains. I'm just a bigger Nirvana fan, but I shall digress. But the contest. So again, we ran a contest for get that shit off the. I'm kidding. We ran a contest while I was gone, and it was for whoever brought the most people to the Atheist Roundtable channel or platform, and in that video in the comment section they said who sent them. The individual that drove the most traffic or the most people to subscribe would receive a prize. And that prize is a free T-shirt from our store on our website, tart.live. They would also receive a copy of Christopher Hitchens' "God Is Not Great." And
feel free to rip
it. Absolutely. If you want, do what you want. Wipe your ass with it. I don't care what you do. But read it first, then wipe your ass with it. We've at least done that with the Bible. No, I'm kidding. But we want to do that. Then the icing on the cake was the $100 gift card, where you can go out to dinner, get clothes, shoes, whatever you want to do. Pay a bill with it. Just to say thank you.
It's a nice dinner.
And we're not naming the steakhouse tonight, so don't even say it, Jeff. We're not doing it tonight.
Okay. Ted's Montenegro.
Jesus Christ. But the winner, and Jeff and Mike, if you want to give me a drum roll, please. The winner of the first ever TART, the Atheist Roundtable contest, is Samuel Doolittle. Hey! So Samuel, and he's emailed me regarding some other things, but he is a loyal subscriber and follower and listener, And we appreciate what you did as far as pushing people to the channel and getting more people connected with us and us being able to connect with them. It means the world to us. So Samuel, if you would, you already have my email address. Send me, whether you want to send me a street address or a PO box or whatever, let me know and I'll get those things to you ASAP so that you have them and we get those into your hands. And again, we thank you very, very much. And for everybody else that participated and helped, we appreciate it, and we will have more contests in the future. And and that was absolutely one more time, everybody. Yeah.
And Samuel, depending on what state you live in, there's a variety of Ted's Montana Grills that you can visit.
Jeff, I said no. Quit plugging that place.
I have removed him from the stream.
Thank you.
Sorry, producers.
All right. So that being said, earlier we gave an invitation for those in the stream that wanted to come on and be a part of the show. This was kind of we use some spontaneity tonight, and we want to have some fun. And I want to welcome a gentleman that I've actually had a couple conversations with via email. His name is Shane, and we're going to welcome him on the show here. Shane, welcome, sir. How are you feeling?
I don't know if you can hear.
Is he watching the YouTube or is he watching he's watching the live stream probably?
Oh, this is going to be painfully funny.
Yeah, because he's going to catch up and then be a little behind.
So we're speaking
I'm good, man. I
to
don't know
the.
if you can hear me because I can't hear the computer.
We're speaking to the future Shugaboo. Future Shugaboo, please switch over to StreamYard right now and stop watching the YouTube.
Close
stream.
the YouTube.
Yeah, right now.
This is going to be painfully
funny.
I'm on the surprise live show on there.
Awesome. I'm blaming you for this one.
I'm
hold on, guys. Speaking to the future Shugaboo, please switch over to StreamYard right now and stop. Yes,
I've closed the YouTube. The YouTube's on my phone.
Oh, wow. Then are we? Well, I actually, I'm not convinced by that, sir, because I can
the only
hear
way I
the
can
YouTube.
hear you is through the phone that I have going on.
Yeah, you're gonna have to use the
delay
StreamYard
going
thing that the link we gave you. You're gonna have to use that. Close out of any YouTube that you have because we can hear ourselves.
Yeah, why don't we take him off and figure that out, then we can bring him back in.
Yeah, because that's hilarious. I'm sorry, that's so funny.
It's like a 20-second delay.
It's like speaking to somebody in a different time zone. Maybe they're from time A or block A or block B. So it was a nerd joke.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one you got going there, Mike.
Yeah. But anyway, if you guys wanted to know about Ted's Montana Grill, Jeff is oh no, now you don't want to.
I don't want to get. I don't want to get a copyright
strike. My appetite for
for some bison. Where's Pasta at? He's been making. I want to just say that Pasta's current TikTok videos. If you guys don't watch them, I mean the new ones.
Are you caught up there, Shugaboo?
No.
Nope, he's not. Shugaboo, you're gonna have to make sure that you're using the StreamYard app and not YouTube. I'm almost 100% positive that he's using YouTube because I can hear the delay.
Yeah.
Anyway, if anybody else wants to come on, this was a surprise show. So
it's like another Austin because Austin struggles with computers.
I do.
The blind leading the blind.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I have one more, so I'm going to pull myself off here and get that link to the next gentleman. I'll be right back.
So that means, Mike, you and I have to fill time.
That's easy for me to do, baby.
We can just go ahead.
We could just talk about the great entrees at Ted's. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna stop shifting the Ted's onto me now before I'm the one that gets in trouble for it.
Till we get demonetized or shut down because Ted Turner doesn't like us.
Yeah, exactly.
I do have a couple new books that I've been going through. I think you should read this one because it would be a good one for you. It's called The Failure of Biblical Prophecies. It actually spends the first.
Does it have Micah 5:2 in there?
Probably. I haven't gotten that far through it. The first 3 chapters though just talk about how erroneous the process is to classify something a prophecy. that you can take almost anything and attribute it by doing some mental gymnastics to a prophecy, even though they don't necessarily line up. And even though a lot of these prophecies, the prediction and the outcome were written at the same time in many cases. So you can't even take them for truth just by that. But yes, there's a bunch in here, So for all the people that think that the Bible has prophetic words and that it doesn't make any mistakes, I got an entire book of examples, and they're
Well, it does have
written.
prophetic.
It does, yes,
but it's not necessarily fulfilled.
I mean, look at someone like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. These people saw the future. They knew where we were going. Bill Gates, another one. These people were visionaries, and visionaries have an ability based on their intelligence to see where things are going, to see the future before we get there, based on the evidence that they have at their hands. That does not mean that they're getting this information from God. Elon Musk isn't doing what he's doing because he got information from God. He's just a genuinely smart guy.
Awesome. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off there. I was say, sorry to cut you off there, but we got two people in there. So I guess while we work on Sugaboo, we'll pull up another guest here.
Yeah. Stop teasing me.
I'm not doing anything. So
All right. John Anthony, can you hear us?
Oh, we can't hear you, sir. So this is going to be round 2.
How about this?
Check it. Yeah.
Hey, all right.
Yes.
How you feeling, my man?
Oh, I'm good.
Good. So what do you want to talk about?
Oh, whatever y'all got, man. I do got something for Jeff. He just mentioned it. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's perfect timing. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah, you're still Panthers shirt. Have you been to some of their live shows?
I've been to a couple. Yeah,
I saw them in. I've seen them in Houston, and I've seen them in. No, I saw them in Dallas and in Atlanta.
I saw last February in Destin.
Nice, yeah, they're fantastic. You get really good show. Like I don't know how to describe it. There is debauchery. There's everything you can think of it in a singular show.
Like rap every '80s band you ever saw, and then add in a comedy show too. It's amazing.
Yeah. They have in the one I went to too. Different shows, different things happened. But in one of the shows, the bass guitarist and the lead singer or the other guitarist got into an argument, and then the band broke up.
Yeah.
So they had that whole like stage thing, and then they did an Ozzy Osbourne thing where he came back out as Ozzy Osbourne for a little bit.
You know what my favorite, me and my grandmother's favorite song, and my family, was a really good song by them, is Glory Hole. It's a good one. Family,
that's a good one.
Family fun for everybody. It's a good song. But John, you're in the Discord, right? This is the same John.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. It's good to see you.
Cool. Yep.
I think it would be interesting if you kind of gave a kind of like the viewers a little synopsis of your story, because I think you have a pretty interesting one.
I mean, it's I guess it's somewhat different, but not a lot different. I was raised Catholic originally, and then I just started. My family was Catholic. We just went to Catholic church, went to mass every Sunday, and then it kind of dwindled off. I still went to the youth group there and things like that as I was like a younger, 11, 12-year-old. As I got into junior high and high school, I kind of stopped going. And then I went, and when I was in the middle of high school, I started going to like an evangelical type church. And that's when I got more involved with Christianity, and I eventually became a youth minister for a little while. Many years down the road, after I stopped doing that, I was still a Christian. But many years down the road, after I went to college and things like that, and got out on my own and started doing my own thing, just kind of started really thinking about things, and you put a little more thought into things as you go along. Like, why do I believe this? What do I believe? How coherent is it all? And then that's kind of led me down to where I'm now, an atheist.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got a question for you too.
Yeah.
Along that path, what do you think? So I know you've been in the Discord for a little bit. So where do you think like that fits in? Like, what do you see the Discord like? What is your first impression as you get in there and start reading some of this stuff?
Oh, it's definitely diverse. That's for sure. There's a lot of. I remember I never really heard some of the arguments that they put forth. I guess there's a lot of like I've been introduced to this. I'm kind of new to the whole, like, trying to get to the, the philosophical side of it and logical side of it. I'm really learning as I go, but I feel like I'm catching on quickly, I guess, is I can say. So
I've seen the same things.
Yeah, these ideas that, like, the universe is consciousness, or things like dualism and things like idealism. I was having a discussion the other day with someone who was arguing for something called innatism, saying that everything in our brains, all knowledge is already in us when we're born. We just unravel it as we go.
So they're just a priori.
Yeah,
everything.
but it was everything. Everything's in there already. We're not actually learning things. We're just unlocking things. It was very, like I said, it's very. The idea, these ideas are out there. I'd never really tackled them before, so I really find it interesting. It's a lot of fun, actually. It's a lot of fun to really sit down and try to unravel some of this stuff and see where it goes.
Yeah.
You as a former Catholic and me as a former Catholic, I think the one thing that the Catholic Church doesn't do very well is actually teaching kind of the history of the Bible. It's more about church history and church tradition. Those things take priority over the Bible. And sure, we get readings on Sundays, but you hear the same gospel readings over and over and over again. You don't really get into the root of the Bible. Whereas you do have some other denominations that are in the Discord that have introduced me to different arguments that have to do with other types of knowledge that's built from information in the Bible that I wasn't exposed to. And so it is interesting getting, like you said, a diverse feel for what's going on in there, and seeing all these different perspectives that people have. But I start also picking up on some things in common. So you start seeing, like, even like some of the Islamic, Muslim, Hindu, and other faith traditions have the same type of mental alchemy that goes into them justifying their belief system. And I don't see a uniqueness in that view. You know what I mean? Like, they all hold to the same logical fallacies when it comes to how they justify their book.
I think I can't remember who it was. It'll come to me in a minute. But someone said that basically every argument for God boils down to a God of the gaps at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it becomes a complete, like, I don't understand X there, and so God is the best explanation for it.
I disagree with that. I would agree, but I would say that it also goes into a lot of incredulity, where it's now I'm unwilling to even look at like resurrection. It's like they'll focus so much on this, like, hallucination or these things. They can't be this, but it's like, well, we haven't gone through the entire list of natural explanations, and then you've just been like, this is more likely, even though I have no demonstration of it. And so I'm just going to be incredulous and say, yeah, it's not something natural. So I think it even gets worse with those arguments, like, because you start diving into this unwillingness.
Because they want to skip that. They got to go, because think about it, there's no meat to arguing the God of the gaps. There's no substance to that. We got to go somewhere. So they go a level above that to the crucifixion and resurrection and argue that, because there's so many other factors in play there. There's so much more meat you can get into, and you can argue from all kinds of different angles. We can get you lost there, Mike. Like, I can take you to that place and hold you there so that we can't get to the root of my belief. And that's where we got to break through that wall and get to the root faster.
I think it's always interesting, though, that, like, we always, debates are always centered around the resurrection. We don't see a lot of debates about virgin birth.
Yeah.
We don't ever really hear that debate, and I always get into this when people want to talk about historical arguments for Jesus.
Don't get me started.
Exactly. And I want to ask them. I was like, okay, who is Jesus? Because they want to say, well, he's, Son of God. Well, already you're done, because history is not going to tell you that. We're already done at step one. Before you even defined it, your argument's already dead in the water for historical Jesus. Mm-hmm. Because if Jesus is a supernatural being, born from a virgin, things like that, we're already done there, because you're not wanting us to agree that Jesus is historical. You're wanting us to agree that there was some guy named Jesus, but you're not talking about the same person. I can say Jesus existed, but Jesus I'm talking about is standard human being. You're saying Jesus that existed is supernatural Son of God, born of a virgin, died, rose, did miracles, and all that. We're not talking about the same thing. You're already equivocating on the first thing, and that's not even an honest argument.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So John, first of all, thanks for emailing us and want to come on and doing this. And we have several other people that we want to get on here. But I want to ask you one thing now. So you shared that you grew up in Catholicism and then ventured your way into, so you went from Jeff's part of Christianity, then you went into my experience of Christianity, which is, being a part of the evangelical, movement and
Right.
got involved in the youth pastor, and now here you are today, a skeptic, a non-believer, an atheist. What would you, briefly, maybe a few sentences, how would you encourage somebody that's on the line? And when I say on the line, that they're questioning or they're becoming skeptical, they're having doubts. What are some words you would give them to encourage them or help them along the way?
I guess really just sit down and lay out, if you have to get pen to paper, lay out what it is the beliefs you already hold, and try to trace each one back to why you have that belief in the first place. Try to figure out, is this something I came by through my, obviously we've all had help. I mean, we learn things from everyone. All our beliefs didn't come from just us. They came from people around us and things that happen. But really sit down and try to figure out what it is and what the source of that belief is. Were you told by someone? And why did they tell you? What information do they have, or did you think they had at the time? Because a lot of this comes from, we trust people that we think know more than us. We trust them implicitly and don't think that they would ever tell us something unless they were 100% sure. We kind of just automatically assume that these people are honest, and they generally are. But we also assume that they've gotten to where they are in life. They couldn't have gotten to where they are in life by being dishonest or by selling something that isn't real. And I think as we get older, we kind of find out, well, we see that that's actually very possible. And is it possible that I was actually, maybe told something like that by someone at some point?
Okay. No, that's great. And that's usually how I try to steer people in kind of the beginning phase of a deconversion is just be skeptical, ask questions, because you're going to find out really quick as you start to ask all the difficult questions, people don't want to answer them. Then you have to go find them for yourself. You have to go through that process.
I did want to ask you, I remember you mentioned earlier, you said something about agnostic atheism, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you say agnostic atheism is, I don't believe a God exists and I don't know.
Do we have the graphic, Mike?
We might.
So
I'm sorry.
Hold on. Just to save time. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, just so
There we go.
That's fine. But okay, here's my problem with it though. I'll use the graphic up. What would you say a Gnostic atheist is?
Someone who thinks that God does not exist.
Yes. So
and believes to have knowledge. They claim to have knowledge that God does not exist.
What is it? Yeah, go ahead.
So John, it's very simple. So the way we see it is an agnostic atheist is we don't believe that there is good evidence to suggest that there is a God, but we cannot confirm that. But we lean to there is no God because there's no evidence. Where agnostic atheists would say there is no God.
See, I get. Okay, first off, I have no problem. People use atheist all the time. I understand what they mean. Most, 99% of the time, I know what people say when they mean they're an atheist. The problem comes in, and it's not a real big deal, but I just think if you have the agnostic atheist, that obviously means there's such thing as a Gnostic atheist. If you have a Gnostic atheist, you're basically saying that the Gnostic atheist is now atheist has changed from between agnostic and Gnostic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the word atheist has also changed.
No, it's in reference to the knowledge because it's a subset of the belief.
No, hold on. If you have a Gnostic atheist, you have someone who claims to know there is no God.
Correct. Which still is atheist, as in they
Right.
don't have a
Right.
theist.
But if you have a agnostic atheist, you have someone who doesn't claim to know there is no God, but doesn't believe there is a God.
Correct.
So
They
the
don't believe in one.
atheist portion doesn't believe there is a God.
Correct.
So how would you have someone who doesn't believe there is a God but knows there is no God?
What do you mean? Knows there is no God
If you have a Gnostic
in the Gnostic
atheist,
sense?
I know, but I don't. I know. I believe there is.
Well, they
doesn't
lack
follow.
the belief. So it's just like two-part sentence, because if we were to use the agnostic in the way that you're saying, like I'm an agnostic, then what is a Gnostic? What is somebody who goes, well, I'm a Gnostic? That doesn't mean anything.
On what proposition?
Exactly.
Anything. That's exactly.
Yeah.
It has to be a proposition of something. You could be like, I claim Gnosticism within a proposition. Sure, it is used in regards to religion, I would say, more so. So maybe its usage is tied in with that more so.
It is, and
but that's why I would say you have a proposition. A God exists or gods exist. Okay, so there are only two options that you can take. You can only either believe those gods exist or a God exists, or you do not. So you either have knowledge on one side that you know that God exists, or you just believe it. You're convinced for reasons. You don't necessarily have epistemic warrant or knowledge. But on the flip side, same thing with the atheism. You could say, I lack the belief in a God, but you could also say, I lack the belief in a God, and I also have knowledge. I claim that there's evidence to show why that is the case. Because atheism is a null hypothesis, is the default position. So to make the distinction with Gnosticism is to make the distinction of saying, I'm in the null position. Now I'm also in the default position, but I'm no longer in that null. I'm actually in the I have evidence.
When you talk about the null hypothesis for an existential claim is non-existence, correct?
Yes, but in the regard of saying I have knowledge is different than saying the null hypothesis saying I don't make a claim either way. But if that would still lack the belief of a God.
That's not the null hypothesis. The null hypothesis is nothing exists until it's shown to exist.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So the non-existence is the default.
Mm-hmm.
So
but we're not saying that that we have the ability to say that there is no God. What we're saying is that right now, currently, I don't have enough data to substantiate that claim. But I also don't have enough data to substantiate the claim in the other direction.
The default position. Well, how about it this way? The default position is to not believe in a God because that's just what it is. You're set on that. But then you can also have knowledge towards saying, not only am I not at the level of believing in the proposition that a God exists, I actually have knowledge for that the God proposition is false.
So if I can, so John, I'm gonna jump in here, and we'd love to. We do another one of these open forums like this and have you back on because we got a couple other people behind you.
No problem.
Again, I am, these guys run circles around me when it comes to being intellectual and philosophy and all that. But I'll give it to you my simple-minded breakdown on this, and then we'll keep it moving. So the difference for me is the Gnostic atheist would be that we believe that there's, if I was a Gnostic atheist, I have an absolute truth that there is no God. Well, I don't think that's intellectually honest for anybody to say. Whereas a agnostic atheist, we say we don't find the evidence, we don't see the evidence, nobody's given us the evidence to suggest that the God claim can be confirmed. So that's where we lean, but we're open to the evidence if you have it. We don't think you have it. You haven't shown it in thousands and thousands of years, but we can't with absolute truth or absolute evidence say that it is real. So that's where it is. And like I said, we would love to have that conversation with you again on another one of these kind of episodes and do that because we love that conversation. But I also want to make sure that we respect and honor the other people that are involved. So
we can do it in the Discord after. I'll come and talk with
you. All right, I'll do that.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump down a rabbit hole or anything, you guys. I want to thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I would love to have that conversation more.
Yeah, we can definitely get on the Discord afterwards, and we appreciate you jumping on, my man.
No problem.
Can I leave it off on one note and say that I'm okay with if someone goes, you're just an agnostic, I'm fine. I don't care. Whatever someone wants to call me.
No. Like I said, people use labels they want. I typically understand. I just think if you really want to delve into it, and because if you say agnostic atheist is a thing, then Gnostic atheist must be a thing. But it forces you to use the word atheist two different ways between those two words. Mm-hmm. So it's almost an equivocation there when you get down to it, because it's like if you're not using the word the exact same way in both things, the way you're using it on one it can't be the opposite of the other because it's not the same.
Well, here's what it comes down to. And
Yeah.
For the religious folks that watch, we don't believe your God's real. We believe he's a figment of your imagination, and no matter what labels we try to stick on each other, they stick on us. That's what we believe.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
I'm a huge believer in usage of words. So if someone wants to say that I'm a snargle Dugan McGoogle, and that means that I don't believe in God, then sure, I don't care. Whatever that
right.
wants to call.
Right. That's like if you when you get to the conversations, none of that matters. Just ask me what I believe, and I'll back up that.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, I get into the minutia and the pedantry of it. But that's fine.
And I would say that you've said something to leave us off on something that you said that I think is good, but you might be able to say it better. Is that you said something about basically the rest is tenable. I'm trying to remember what it is you said to somebody in response to something, but you were like, how about this? And you're basically like, in regards to not knowing, you were like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but
I don't remember either.
But it was a brilliant response. So we need to get you on more so that we can
maybe I should write them down or something. So I'll have them. Is that good?
Cool. Put you on so that way I'm not fumbling trying to remember what it was. So
yeah, that's fine.
Cool. No, but John, we'll meet up with you in the Discord afterwards. All right.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.
See you,
bud. All right, guys. So we're gonna try to get Shane back in here and see if we can rock and roll here.
Give a thumbs up if you hear me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
How you feeling, my man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. So that everybody doesn't blame anybody else but me. I switched devices and it's working fine now. So
I just assumed you were a theist.
I just assumed it was Austin's fault.
That's why I was jumping in their defense.
Yeah. But it's just all this has done is just built up. Now we have this we need to know what Shane has to say. We've been teased now.
Yeah. So you guys know. So Shane, I have, like I said, when we were trying to get him on a few minutes ago, we've exchanged some emails, we've had some conversations, but I'm not going to steal any of his thunder. Shane, before we dive into any type of conversation or dialogue, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was a Christian, or I called myself a Christian for 37 years, and then in 2007, in study, and of course, this is what I always hate when people say, well, you didn't really believe, but I'd always pray to the Holy Spirit to guide me through the readings and the studies, man. And I even got into Hebrew and Greek, trying to understand the depth of it. My wife and I read every night. And during one of those readings, we were exchanging verses, and I read my verse and I was like, wait a minute. And it just hit me. It was like, this doesn't sound right. It sounds ridiculous. And then we went on a discussion. She was upset with me for a while because I'm the one who brought her into the religion. And then just after searching, I spent a whole nother year trying to get back the faith that I thought I had. So my studies weren't biased towards atheism. My studies were biased towards theism. I was looking for a reason to believe again. And the more I looked, the more I realized I didn't have a justification for believing what I believed. And then I was angry. So I became one of those angry atheists because I'd been lied to for so long. And it was just, this destroyed worldview that I had. And so then I went on these rants about, fighting with everybody that I could because I was really wanting them to convince me that it was real. I wanted to get back that faith. And I wanted somebody to have a good enough argument. Probably. I think that's a theme that I start seeing more and more the more people I talk to, the more I find out, what are you really angry about? And that's what it is typically.
Lost time.
The lost time, or just the distrust, that indoctrination that they had. And that's what I really try to talk to people about, is trying to find out, do they really believe this, or are they just indoctrinated into it? And how do they tell the difference?
Yeah.
But for somebody who can claim, this guy spent 37 years of his life, deconverted in 2007, was Christian the entire time, prayed every night, went to church every Sunday, read every night with his wife, and somehow one day lost it. How can you blame him for that? Like, when he was looking for the truth, and that's the truth that was given to him. Like, how can we blame a human being for coming to that conclusion based on what happened? Like, he's trying to physically and mentally believe in that system and is unable to. And I found myself in the same place. It was my love for the religion that led me to atheism. It was reading the Bible too much that got me into atheism, and studying the Catholic Church that got me away from the Catholic Church. It's weird. You go too far, and I'm very happy to see that, even after 37 years of being in the church, you were able to wake up one day and go, this doesn't make sense, because a lot of people would just cruise right by that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Shane, I love that you shared that, and the guys know, and our listeners know, one of my biggest pet peeves as a former believer, a former Christian, is when people say that, well, you must not really have been a real Christian.
It's your fault.
You didn't really love God. You didn't really want to know Jesus as your personal savior. And there's nothing that grates me more, and I used to get angry about it. Now I kind of smile about it, and I kind of laugh it off. Because it's like, first of all, you have no idea, what I did or didn't do. And it's unfalsifiable. You can't prove that I wasn't a real Christian. But to me, it's kind of a passive aggressive slap in the face.
Yeah.
Because, it's you still can't demonstrate that your God's real. You can't prove that your God's real. So instead of us sitting down and having a good conversation and try to find a pathway to truth, you just want to try to insult me and basically say that I wasted 30 some years of my life.
Christian has a dichotomy. I could either give some evidence for my belief, or I could make a personal ad hominem attack on the other person. Yeah. So,
exactly.
You have all that.
Yeah.
But
no, but
it took me a while to calm down.
Yeah, and you know what, Shane, people like yourself and Jeff and myself and many others that we talk to, here on our platform, and even outside of this, I meet people out and about, and conversations come up, and I think all of us go through, some people it's 3 to 6 months, other people it's 2 or 3 years that you go through that angry atheist stage, where it's like, damn it, I got lied to for 30 something years, man. I wasted 30 something years of my life, and nobody told me that I was believing in bullshit, and so you feel like you got robbed, in some aspects. So, yes. So, well, first of all, you get Shane. Thanks for emailing me wanting to come on, and we got Shane a link for the Discord and all that. We're getting hooked up there as well. But Shane, what? You're the guest on our show. You're the guest at our table, so to speak. What would you like to talk about tonight?
Well, there was two things. One was to finalize something that the other gentleman was saying, and that was when he's talking about Gnostic atheists and agnostic atheists. And I think that regardless of whether they conflict, all words are made up. So when you're talking to an individual, it's just simply important to identify or define terms. And so if you're redefining a term that means something completely different than it would normally mean, as long as it makes sense and you agree on the definition when you're talking to somebody, I think that's all that matters. So clearing that up when you're having that conversation, I think that's all that matters in that particular moment when you're talking to somebody. So, but the second thing was, we were talking about how to prove God doesn't exist. A lot of people have started lately with trying to reverse the burden. And I've gotten this habit of now going, fine, I will prove he doesn't exist as long as you provide me with what evidence you will accept for non-existence. And so that we can start getting into that conversation. If you want me to have the burden, all I'm asking you to do is to provide me with what evidence for non-existence will you accept? What criteria is non-existence? And that usually shuts down the conversation. And I wanted to know what you guys think about that whenever I say, yes, I will prove that God does not exist to your satisfaction. But first, I need to understand how you differentiate existence from non-existence and what evidence you would accept for non-existence.
I like it.
Well,
I will steal that.
Yeah, I love that. But see, I'm not a where Jeff and Mike are, they have a little more similarity in this regard, where they want that back, like they enjoyed the back and forth and the banter and all that, and I love I love listening to it. Where for me, I'm just like, well, hold on, before I try to prove or disprove anything, you made the claim that there's a God. Show me your God. That's where my atheism stands. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I was just going to say, for me, that's how I would stop the back and forth of arguing who had the burden of proof. Because you get into those things where you say, no, you made the claim. And they say, no, you made the claim. And I know you made the claim. And so then I finally had to stop it by going, fine, I'll accept the burden of proof. You need to let me know what you would accept as evidence.
And I understand that. Actually, I'm starting to get to the point with as my biblical knowledge grows, I'm starting to go, you know what, if you're not going to do it, I will just show you how inconsistent it is. And also, by the way, guys, we released a new video where the Bible is inconsistent, and we only scratched Luke chapters 1, 2, 3 and Matthew 1, 2, 3 as well. So go check that out if you guys haven't already. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. I wanted to actually kind of ask a question to you, and hopefully it doesn't get off topic here.
Sure.
Did the aesthetic aspect of being a Christian, like whether it's because for me, I wasn't a Christian at all, but when I'd go to like my friends' churches or something like stained glass windows, I could see how it like draws people in. Like I understood the aesthetic vibe of it and all that, but I'd always look around too and kind of be like, oh, well, the people here are actually really weird. So even though this building is really cool, was like, do you think that any of the aesthetic, whether it's like some people who are like King Jamesian, who like the thou shouts and all that, like, do you think there's this certain vibe that they just like about it that draws them into it? So they don't really care if it's true. It's just more so like, this is a cool lifestyle aesthetic that I like. I like the disciples and the poetic kind of injustice of putting Jesus on the cross. Like, do you think that's a thing?
Possibly.
Does that make sense?
To a degree. And of course, I'm going to answer as though I understand what you're saying exactly. But so growing up, I was kind of early on, I was just like a whatever. I showed up at church because that's what we had to do. And then later on, it became like the in thing to be Christian. I grew up down the street. Well, I didn't grow up there, but I lived down the street from the Copelands. And so that was always something that was talked about.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So there was all this, well, they're not the right Christians and they're not the right Christians. And so I went to a witness school. It was called Winds School. And this is in the 80s, whenever it was like rock and roll and stuff. And we had to be hip, and our image was, we're cool, we're hip, we're here to witness to you. And so we made it look cool. And I think that religion is always doing that, trying to update itself. Like there was a discussion earlier about youth pastors with tattoos. Now you pretty much have to have tattoos to be hip. And I think that more people are drawn into that. It's cool to be a Christian. Everybody's a Christian, quote unquote. So we want to be Christian too. And of course, we're in a country where that's dominant. So I think people just don't want to be left out. And then, of course, just like me, you're comfortable with this acceptance. It's like kids when you've taught them all their life there's Santa Claus, and there's all kinds of things that come along with believing in Santa Claus, the magic gifts, the feeling of magic. And then it's very, that's why you have to have a talk with your spouse before you tell the kids that Santa Claus isn't real, because it takes away some of that magic that you believed in. And I think that was the other piece. As soon as I realized that this wasn't true, I started discounting anything supernatural, and that started taking some of the magic out of the world for me, until I learned to replace it with other things. So, like, for example, I consider myself now leaning towards existential nihilist. That I think I give things value, and as long as I give them value, then they have it. They just aren't born with it. They don't have any intrinsic value.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that, because like a lot of times someone they say that, or they mention the philosophical inward, so to speak, being a nihilist, or in reference to how you would be. It's almost like you get the scoff, like, oh, it's like, well, look, I don't, what I'm saying is that I don't see value. I don't think that there's this intrinsic value in life, but I can create it. It's like for me, it's weird because people like almost don't have meaning in life when they have its end goal, because it's like, if my car has a purpose after its use, like in the landfill, what the fuck am I driving it for? You know, like, what is the point of this whole process before it gets to the dump or the landfill where it has this much higher meaning that I don't want to find out that it's a heap of junk, you know, before that, you know, that happens. Like, I'd rather just go ahead and drive the car, get use out of it, create the meaning, and then by the time it, you know, comes down to that, it's like,
light it on fire and collect the insurance.
yeah, we'll find out. Maybe there's this celestial landfill that I'm not sure of, but it's like, you know, I'm not gonna go there yet.
But
So,
Mike, going back to your question about does the what do you call it? Start with an A. Now I can't think of the word of the
Aesthetic.
church. The aesthetic of the church.
yeah, just
So-
like the vibe, you know.
So
like Mortal
growing
Kombat,
up,
it's a good
growing up
vibe.
Catholic,
I don't believe it's true.
and visiting the Northeast. And if you ever go into a Catholic church in the Northeast, they were all built, you know, they're all 150 years old, 200 years old churches. Huge pipe organs, gold everywhere. This big orchestrated event. If you've ever been to a Catholic mass, it is a huge orchestrated event with, all that stuff, you know, incense, gold this. You know,
Alrighty then.
Yeah. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Stand up, sit down, fight.
right, yeah, exactly. It's up, down, kneel. Like, you know, it's an orchestrated show. And if you don't think that there's emotion that plays into that when you're in that space and you start developing these subconscious feelings and thoughts towards those places and the people and things like that, and then you start attributing those emotions to a God and say, well, that's what I feel. You know, and that's God. Yeah, it's a psychological thing. And the same thing happens with the youth groups in Baptist churches or Pentecostal or whatever.
Absolutely.
If you're going to have a successful youth group, you've got to be with the times.
Vibes.
You've got to have the vibe. You're going to have the freaking now it's, you know, we're going to call it, you know,
Fuse.
The rock, you know, or it's going to be
spark plug.
Yeah. The meeting table, you know, whatever. And you're going to have a flashy sign with wood walls, you know, and a nice meeting room, or else you're not going to be successful. It's a business like anything else.
So all that's dead on. And just for time purposes, because we got, I think one other person that wants to come on after this, Shane, I want to ask one more question. But before that, you said you had two things. You had follow up on the previous guest, and you had one other comment or question you had.
I got both of those in.
Oh,
I got a question before you go, if I can. Your significant other, how did she react to you, like leaving the church? Like, how did that play out? How did you deal with that?
We just had a conversation. I mean, we've had a good relationship because she wasn't Christian when we met. I mean, she kind of vaguely believed in God, more of a deist than anything else. And her family was not really deep into it.
Sure.
So I brought her deep into it, you know, because I was like, even the night we met, I was like, I can't go out with you tonight because I got to go to church tomorrow, you know. And so I brought her all the way in and got her introduced to the church family and those kinds of things. And she got used to the group. But so when we went out of it, she lost a lot of things that because I was like, I don't want to go anymore because I can't.
The social aspect.
Yeah, the social aspect. And then there's the other aspect of something bigger than me wants me. Something bigger than me wants a relationship with me. And you have to get past that psychological disconnect.
Well, I'm glad to hear that she likes you a lot. And stick around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, Shannon, and I truly do. You know, your first time coming on screen, just kind of on spot. You've been very transparent, and as I tell all of our guests that, yeah, absolutely, that come on and that come on and are transparent and just kind of put all their cards on the table. I think that's badass, and I totally admire that. But this is what I want to do. I don't necessarily have it's kind of a question, but it's funny that you and I kind of had a little bit of this conversation at the beginning of this call because we have somebody in our chat room that loves to, anytime I bring this up, that they love to question, mine or your motives as a former Christian, and whether we were doing good works or dead works or bad works, or we weren't really Christians or any of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this comment on the bottom of the page. Okay. And you're going to be able to see it. We're all going to be able to see it. And then what I would like to do is first, you and I have a discussion briefly about it. And then if the other two gentlemen want to jump in, obviously that's totally fine. But you and I have kind of discussed this already. And these are the ones, it are these comments after 30 something years, just like you, spending my life doing this, and somebody makes this type of comment or insinuation, to me is absolutely asinine. It's arrogant, and it's very assumptive.
Yes.
For another human to even try to interject or assert that they may have known our motives or whether our works were alive or dead. So now I shall proceed. Just because you did dead works and say that you were a Christian, quote unquote, does not make you a Christian. And throws up John 6:44.
Basically, no true Scotsman fallacy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
well, yeah, and see, they and that's why I love these two. They beat me to it. I was going to save that. I was going to save that, but Shane, before I dig into that, I want to, because they hear, our listeners, our viewers, they hear me all the time. As first time on our show, when you read that, and obviously this is when you and I were talking when this comment came up in the section. First time on our show, what's your response to that? How do you feel about that?
Well, the first thing is that I don't know what a real Christian is, because I mean, we had God TV. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a satellite feed TV. I didn't allow any kind of secular stuff in the house. It was completely. My children were like, "Thank God you're an atheist now," but they weren't allowed any secular material. I didn't have any kind of anything that I would even closely deem as pornographic, and I followed everything that I thought I could do. And of course, some people would respond to that and say, well, then you were works-based, you weren't faith-based. And of course, then I say, well, I would lay down prostrate. I mean, I would lay down on the ground to pray, and try to be completely genuine so that I would take all ego away. Well, then somebody will say, no, you're focused on what you're doing and not what God's doing. And so there's always, no matter what you say,
you can never be right.
A comeback. You can never be right. So no matter what you say, no matter what you try to do, like I used to explain that I was a former minister, and of course then that goes down a rabbit hole, because then they start wanting to know what religion you were, what church did you go to? Well, they didn't do it right. And I say, see, you're demonstrating with the problem, the imperfectness of Christianity. It's because there are so many variables in order for you to understand what is the right Christianity that nobody could ever hope to have in the right one. And you just so happen to be born in a place where you just so happen to be taught the right Christianity. So you know the right Christianity and I didn't. And I think that's hubris.
Yeah. What if I'm convinced that nobody's a true Christian because I'm not convinced that being a Christian is really a thing, because it entails it hinges upon a man rising from the dead, which I don't believe is possible or happened. So what if I was like, yeah, you guys weren't true Christians because neither are they.
But here's
what would you say? Yeah, what would you say to that?
Well, that's just where you ask for the definition of a true Christian. Then how do you define that?
Mm-hmm. Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know what it is.
Here's if I can jump in here, and then and Shane, I can't wait to have you on the show on a normal roundtable segment.
No, you're good. Yeah.
I think you're going to kick ass, man. I'm even more excited now after talking to you here than I was even talking via email. I think that's going to be a great show. But here's and please pardon the train sounds. And usually they don't.
Atheist Express.
Usually they don't run this late at night. I don't know why they're going. But the thing that kills me about any Christian that would say, well, you weren't really saved, And this is why I've got to the point now where I kind of smile and laugh when they say it, and not as an asshole, but it's kind of it's become comedy to me that you'd even say that, because any believer knows, or anybody who's studied the Bible knows that in Romans it simply says, if you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that Jesus Christ is Lord, you will be saved. So people ask, well, how do you know you're saved? I did exactly what you fucking did. I believed in my heart and confessed with my mouth that Jesus is Lord. And just like Shane said, I did everything that I was supposed to do to be a Christian. Like I lived a life that was supposedly supposed to be clean and pure and holy in the sight of a God and a Father and a Creator, and I did the best that I could do to model that for my family, my ex-wife and my kids and the people that looked up to me in the church, and as a leader and all that. Like I did all of those things. Like,
But did you do it Christian enough?
Well,
Yeah.
that's how I was going to end it. Is if I did that with every bit, and anybody that knows me knows I'm an open book. Like I'm the most sincere, like unadulterated, uninhibited, like I just tell it how it is. If I did all that for that long and I still wasn't good enough, I still wasn't a real Christian, guess what? I question that you're a real fucking Christian, because I did it balls deep. And I mean that with every bit of pun and joke and sarcasm intended, because I went all out for that faith, all out. And for anybody to ever question that, you don't know me and you're assumptive, and you can't prove that I wasn't. You can't prove that Shane wasn't. You can't prove that Jeff wasn't. You can't you can't prove that. And that's so assumptive and arrogant. It's so.
Why don't they pick on me? I wasn't. They could go, Jesus, Mike, we weren't a true Christian. Like, yeah, I wasn't. You're
low-hanging
right.
fruit, man.
You're right. I wasn't.
Hey, have you ever heard of adoration? It's a Catholic thing. And
yeah,
so,
I've heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Okay, so adoration, because the body of Christ is the cracker. The host is the body of Christ. It is Jesus. The communion is Jesus. And so they do this thing called adoration, and they have this large, typically golden cross, and they'll put one of the circular hosts in the center. And you'll have a room of people, and they will literally carry this around people. And you'll see people lay on the ground and pray and cry, laugh, like have all these emotional reactions to what's going on. And I was always angry because I never had an emotional reaction to it. And I thought there was something wrong with me because I never had these external feelings come on to me where I could feel God's presence, and other people would claim to have feel God's presence. So I don't know what else I could do, when you're genuinely seeking to believe in God and you're just blessed with a brain, so to speak, that's skeptical. I can't do anything about it.
So Jeff, this is what I'm doing, and we'll close this part out because we got one more caller before wrapping, because we went way over tonight, but we're having fun. So
it's good. It's good time. I don't even know what time it is right now.
Yeah, people are engaged. But Christian apologetics, I'm just going to call you out because you're the one posting all the nonsense. Now you're claiming that I didn't do it for Jesus, I do it for God, I did it for my family. Again, you're being arrogant and you're being assumptive. If you would like to come on the round table and do an actual show with us and we can discuss this, I would be more than happy to do that. But if you just want to hide behind a keyboard and do it in the comments section, take that somewhere else. Please take that somewhere else. We would love to have you on. If not, keep it moving. It is what it is. But you're he's saying nope. So it just shows. So no longer, hey, guys.
Speaking tongues.
Yeah, all you gotta do is just ask.
Hey, one troll to another. Good job, man.
Yeah,
you got on the show.
Yeah, so producers, just make sure he's gone. But my new friend, we appreciate you coming on tonight, and I can't wait to schedule a time to have you on. I know we talked about a couple things via email, and I'm excited for that. We appreciate your time tonight. You're a rock star.
Right on.
We'll talk
Appreciate
to you soon,
right? Right on.
Look how shiny my face is. So shiny.
So we have one more here, and we'll try to keep it brief, but it's
We do have him saying he would come on right now as well. So if you want to book him on there or something, we can do that, or we can book him for a show because I'm 100% down with
We do
that
it right now.
We got someone in the back right now.
Well, next.
We have somebody backstage right now. So apologetics, if you want to do it, what we'll do is anybody wants to watch, we'll end the stream for editing purposes because this was supposed to be a reward or an acknowledgement for our prize and everything, and we can start another one just that way. I'm trying to keep Mike and Steve's jobs easy as far as editing.
It'll be fine. It should be actually fine.
We can do another live stream and do that, and I would love to have you on and do that. I want to make sure. Wait. I just want to make sure that I'm keeping the job and the responsibility simple for our editors.
It's a good point. I appreciate it.
But that being said, Kobe has very, very patiently been waiting in the background, and we'll bring him on right now.
I remember him. Kobe's been on before.
Yeah, Kobe
lives in Texas, right?
Yep.
There's no L, by the way, guys.
I said Kobe, not Colby. Kobe.
Yeah.
Jeff or whoever it was.
No, that wasn't me.
I never said Colby Cheese. I said, "What's up?"
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sure.
I remember.
My dog's name was Kobe, so kind of.
I remember Kobe.
Making me bring back some memories.
So Kobe, you've been on with us before. So I was about to say, just how you feeling, my man?
Doing good. How are y'all?
We're good, man. So we got a few minutes here. Those went a little longer than I thought they'd go. So is there anything that you would like to discuss?
No, not really.
I have a question.
I just wanted to talk to y'all. Yeah.
Hold on, Jeff. Hold on, Jeff. Hold on. Finish. You're just like
trying to get in before you.
Jeff turned to that pit bull.
No, I don't have. I want to give him. I don't want him to not have a subject matter to talk about. So I'm trying to throw him a bone and give him something.
Let's do it.
Trying to help out, make our guests feel welcome. So last time we spoke, like when you were in for a little bit, did you have time to think about any of the things Austin said, and what kind of reflection did you have? Maybe a day or a week after you spoke with Austin.
About what? What was it?
Well, then you spoke about the sacrifice, the child sacrifice, I believe was what you were speaking on. He went into a pretty long explanation about how that can't possibly be a good God. Did you do any research on the verses, or what have you come to a different conclusion in that time span? It's been about 2 weeks, maybe, or a week and a half since you were on?
It's been about 3 weeks.
Longer than that.
3 weeks. Well, I'm on Corona time.
Well, yeah, I researched, did a little bit more thinking about it, and I came to the same thing.
Oh, you're an atheist! Yay!
That's not where he's at.
No, not like that.
Not with that big Catholic cross in the background.
No.
And he's like, no, it's
I
just
came
really
to
expensive. I just wanted to leave it there.
The same as I thought before. It's one of those touchy subjects. I know today on the Discord, we were talking with that Muslim about the whole, I guess the Muhammad and marrying the 6-year-old or whatever, stuff like that.
Sure.
So if you take that kind of thing and you kind of add it on to it, you kind of think about it as the slavery, as some of y'all talk about, and also this as well. With the whole Muhammad thing and the whole Islam thing, that's just completely and totally wrong. No one should even think second again, think about that, or you know what I mean. But with that, that's still one of the things that I've been kind of. Me and Austin never had a discussion about it, and I've been wanting to do that. But I'm still researching into that and stuff like that as well.
So since our last conversation, have you? And I don't mean this in a sarcastic way at all, but I kind of let you slide out of that conversation because you had said you hadn't looked into it enough, and I respect that. So I'm not going to try to pin somebody in a corner if they haven't done their due diligence, on a subject. But since then, the abuse and the trauma that we we discussed, and if I remember right, you're a father. I'm a father. Have you been able to find or identify a way to justify or rationalize, in any type of abuse or traumatization to any human being, whether it be through a god or a physical abuse? Like, can you justify that? Have you been able to rationalize that yet?
No, not yet, not yet. I'm still going over that. That's one of the things I want to go over whenever, if I'm ever on the show, or get to be on the show. That's one of the subjects that I want to go over. I'm still working on that. I'm still trying to do more research about that specific, the specific year, and what specifically was going on with all of that as well. So I know the story real well, but I want to go ahead and I want to get in more and more and more into it, not just come with what I think I know right now as a human being or as a father, but get more into the history and what was actually going on at that specific period of time that would allowed him to actually think, or to actually do that and agree with it. So yeah, I'm definitely actually, the last time we talked, whenever I talked to you and talked to Mike, I actually got off of there, and I thought it was an actual pretty good conversation, just because of the fact that not a lot of Christians or people who consider themselves Christians will actually do this. Will go and just discuss with atheists or people who have, I guess, different views, worldview, and just different views on religion. I guess just because they really don't want to. I think you said one thing one day, and I use this on a daily basis. I think you said, Austin, that I think it was atheists, or y'all as atheists read and study the Bible more than Christians do, and that's 100% true. I can't say that's not true, because even in my church, I can go in there and ask specific questions on just something at the beginning of John, like what does John 1:1 say, or can you tell me what John 3:16 says, and nobody really can actually sit there and tell me, hey, this is what it means, this is what it says. So I do think a whole lot highly more about what y'all do, and what y'all are about now, just because y'all do more work than the basic Christian, or somebody who considers themselves as a believer in Christ, and that's one thing that I've been working on with a lot of people that I kind of disciple, and I kind of help out. So that's one of the subjects that we did on a Bible study just the other day. So it's one of those things where I like to do this, just because it kind of teaches. Just how y'all say that y'all are here to learn, just as anybody is here. Y'all aren't there to put me down, or I'm not here to put y'all down. And I know we had a little outgoing with that thing, with this I guess that Christian apologetics or apologetics was just talking about. I know we had our own discussion with that as well, and I didn't come off like that. That guy right there, I wouldn't even, I don't know. Don't put him on the show.
No, I'm curious how he came up with his name. It's really ingenious.
I mean, we'll know within the first 30 seconds if he wants to have a discussion or he just wants to have his name out there. So we can give him his 15 seconds of fame and see what he's got to say.
And Kobe, I have, and I think I told you, my little brother is a pastor, and him and I have these conversations all the time. And it's always like this. It's this tone. It's this volume. It's this relaxed, and this is how it should be, right? You know why it's this way, Kobe, is because he and I make no assumptions about each other. He knows where my heart is. He knows that at the end of the day, I want to help humanity. Like, I want to help people find more true things than not, and he wants to help people find true things. Now, do I believe in his vehicle? Do I believe his vehicle is correct? Absolutely not. And he knows that. But we have a common respect for each other as humans and as men, that we're going to respect those boundaries, right? And still have those healthy conversations. And that's usually where it gets off kilter, because here's like, at one point, not only was he my brother, he was my pastor. He was my pastor, right? And never once has he done what this gentleman in the comment section done and said that, oh, well, you were never really a Christian. Like you served
He
all those
probably
years.
knows. Like he was there by your side.
Yeah, you served all those years in my church, you know, and you did all these other things in the name of Jesus, and you served. And I watched you, you know, I watched you praise God and play the drums and do all this stuff unto the Lord. Like I watched you do it. Never one time has he ever questioned how genuine I was or was not. Never once. And we still have those conversations. And Kobe, that's why guys like you and we may have passionate and heated conversations, but I'm never going to talk to you like that because you have always been respectful and always done that. Now, again, it doesn't mean we won't violently disagree on things. Just like if after we have the next conversation, you try to justify that abuse is still okay just because it was in the Old Testament, we're probably going to violently disagree on that. We're probably going to have a heated conversation, but that does not mean as a human, I don't respect you. I'm never going to attack you as a human. I'll attack your belief all day, every day, but I'll never attack you as a man. And that's where people get it fucked up and get it twisted.
Yeah, I agree with that. I especially with the things that are going on. I saw the TikTok of Mr. Jeff over here with the whole Quran and ripping the pages of it, and I was it kind of hurt a little bit just because a lot of people are more passionate about that book, how y'all were talking about.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that are passionate about what the book is and everything other than what is actually said inside of it. If that's their true religion, if that's really what they believe, then
but what
it's
if I
not
was
going to matter
passionate
if
about
somebody.
What else?
well, he's on there. I get what he's saying. He's not.
No, I know. It's
doing
just, and I know I'm not trying to make it. I'm just saying, it's like, what if I'm passionate about something that's like
Boating.
so good, but then
You
all
love
of a sudden-
sailboats.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden it's like, also, if you don't like sailboats, I'm told that I should kill you.
Your boat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because that's literally what it says.
Right.
Not only you know, not only just like you're going to hell, like kill the person is what it says.
Yeah, if anybody that comes out like that, especially if they say that they're religious, especially Islam and Muslims, that's their nature. Is, you know, I don't know what to really say about Islam because I don't really know a lot of it. I know its basic history and how it was created, but other than the way that they think and the way that they take Muhammad to be so serious, I don't see why anybody would try to threaten anybody, especially just as a regular human being in the world. Nobody should be threatened with death or.
Kobe, I'll tell you this, and then, well, first of all, before I say this, please make sure. Obviously, we've exchanged emails. Please email me, and let's get a time for you to be on the show. Right, that way you can have a dedicated time, and we can talk through your story. You know what, why, how, all that. And then we could get and we'll dive into, you know, at the end of the show, we'll dive into the Isaac story. That's one of my favorite stories in the Bible to talk about. But we can do that 100%. But what, you know, kind of to the tail end of what you were talking about there is, you know, Kobe, the sad part. The fallout, I guess, maybe is the word that I want to use. And I don't know if you're here for the beginning of this episode, even before Mike was able to join us. You know, I talked about with Jeff that all of a sudden I'm guilty by association. You know, and now that being said, I've had a video or two that I went to, you know, because that's my boy. You know, I went to his aid. You know, sticking up for him and going to bat for him and trying to have his back. But I know he has, and I won't speak for anybody else, but I know he has, and I know that I have from Christians and Muslims, since he has done those things, and I have went to bat, you know, to stand side by side by my friend, literally got hate messages. I've had my safety and my life threatened by Christians and Muslims based on those videos. And that is one of my biggest issues with religions is you believe in this thing that you can't prove so devoutly and so blindlessly that you will literally send me hate mail digitally, but you will send me hate mail and you will threaten my safety, threaten my life, And not only that, you will threaten my friends' safety and my friends' lives and send them hate mail simply because we don't believe. Because never once, and I check it because these guys know I will not align myself with anything if we're attacking the human, we're attacking the person. I won't align myself with it. I want to be associated with it. I'll completely disconnect. And I would tell Jeff, and I'll say this right now, if I felt that was Jeff's motive was to attack a human and attack the person, I would tell him, I don't want a part of it, and I don't want you to be part of the round table.
Yeah.
That's not what we do. But we will put your belief through a rigorous examination, and we don't have to respect it. We will respect you as the human and the person. We don't have to respect the book. We don't have to respect the belief. So the reason I say all that, Kobe, is that I think the average Christian doesn't even realize the amount of hate and just violent bullshit that Christians spew towards atheists simply because we don't believe. It's crazy. So, and again, that's something we can talk about. And, and I know people, I haven't even been watching. I know people in the comments that are still here, they probably don't like hearing that if they're a theist, but it's true. And you don't know that it's true because you're not an atheist receiving those messages. And I know Mike and I know Jeff and myself and probably Steve and Pasta, like we've all received them simply because we don't align with their convictions and their values. And that is crazy because never once have we went after somebody's humanity, and after their character and after their integrity. We just don't do that. So I'll give you I know I said a lot there, but a couple sentences you want to say?
I think that one thing that I'm open
Literally,
to.
it goes on forever.
It doesn't stop, bro. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. I get about
All right,
300
let Kobe talk the weekend.
Sorry.
I think one thing
My
that I have witnessed myself, and this is one thing I'll talk about whenever I come on. But I actually had one of my coworkers who was an atheist, and I mean he was probably just like y'all, but probably worse. Like he was into pretty much anything and everything that he can get into. He was really, 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 really smart. Really, anything that I have ever said, he would always try to have something to defend himself. And we just started talking, and eventually, we started talking more and more and more. And I started showing him some things and stuff like that. And he ended up, coming out to the same conclusion that he's an atheist. But just being able to have that conversation, and I came in with not, I know more than you, or you're gonna go to hell if you don't believe my belief, or if you don't commit to this right now. I came in with just love, because in the world that's all we have is love, and everybody shares that. That's one thing that we all share together is love, emotions, feelings. We all have that, and with him and just experiencing the way that he reacted to our conversation, it was a whole lot better and a whole lot more open for me to actually come out and actually start talking to more atheists and non-believers and stuff like that. So I see it as a good thing. And for any Christian who considers themselves a Christian and goes automatically to hating and putting people down, I don't condone it. And I honestly would not believe that they are a Christian. That's just, I just don't see that they would be, especially if they were. I understand if some of the kids, I'm pretty sure most of them are kids.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and
Absolutely.
to be fair, it's all the environment, because like
Yeah.
like Chase put in the comments, that he gets crap for simply believing in God, and that might be the case. But where I live, that's not the case. I mean,
But hold on,
going
hold
to
on,
be
hold on.
praised. You're
Hold
not.
on. Yeah. Hold on. What Christians and like, I love Chase, but you're not going to find atheists threatening their safety and their lives. Like he's not getting death threats because he's a Christian.
100%.
Yeah.
And that I was going to make a distinction is that it does. It matters about your environment and all these things. But at the end of the day is that if someone's telling you that you don't believe in God, they're giving you crap for it. It's not warranted, but it's not.
It's still wrong. It's still wrong.
It's not warranted, but at the end of the day, they're walking away from the situation just going, I think you're wrong. Whereas the other person's going, I think you're wrong. And I also if am fearful for your soul, which we don't know exists. And then also you're gonna be in hell forever. So there's a different two people walk away from the situation, both going, well, I think you're wrong, but one's taking it a very much further step in terms of, you're gonna burn forever.
Yep. So so this is what I'm gonna do. Kobe, appreciate you coming on, my man, and email me. Let's get a date set up where we can have an episode where we focus on you, your story, and all that. We could have those conversations and it not be abbreviated, so to speak. And Christian apologetics. I think I told you this a couple episodes ago, but my email address is austin@tart.live. Email me. We're going to start a new feed that way for editing purposes. This is simple for our editors, and we'll start a new feed. And all those that want to join, we always usually do an after party anyway, so we'll do an after party. Love to have you on. We'll have all of those conversations with you that you want to have, but you have to email me so I can get you the link. austin@tart.live. austin@tart.live. It's that easy. Send me an email. I'll get you the link. So as we wrap it up, again, Kobe, thanks for jumping on, my man, and get me that email. We'll get you set up on the time. All right.
Yep. And to end off the show, if we can, I wanted to throw out. We don't have a producer now, so I guess I'll hot mic myself up here. If there's any Christians watching or any theists or atheists, you don't owe shit to anybody. You don't have to give your this is just kind of rehashing what I said about being on one side of the aisle. You do not have to give any reason at all for what you believe. You don't owe anybody any explanation. But when you step over that line and you say, I'm not understanding, why you have so much hate or why you think this, you have now stepped over the line. You've now involved yourself in the conversation. Prepare yourself to defend the claims that you have. And also, the truth has nothing to fear from investigation. So if it's true, welcome the same standards that any belief someone else has, especially in regards to science, has to go through as well. With that, we love you guys, and we'll see you on the after show here in hopefully a few minutes. Take care.